audio isn't on.
Well, we're live now, Andy, so we caught the ass end of that. You guys don't even want to know what he was talking about before
Uh,
that even started. But hey, I'm Jackson with Just Annoyed, and once again we are just annoyed with Comic Man Andy today, with Mike and Andy here to discuss Sandman. And let's start with the whole go around. Let's go over to Mike first since he's holding the book in his hands. Mike.
yes, this is Sandman, volume what, one, two, three, four. Wait, one, two, three, four, five. This is volume 6? No, 5. So I should have just looked on the cover. This is we're reviewing a game of you. No, Season of Mist. Which one are we watching?
Game of You.
Game of You. Yeah, well, we're going to talk about it. If you want to watch the last 4 volumes that we talked about, make sure you guys check in Jackson's history of videos. We got all kinds of stuff and insights on those 4. But yeah, really excited to talk about this Sandman, Neil Gaiman.
And of course, we wouldn't have a show without him, Mr. Comic Man Andy.
Downright annoyed. You guys are so distracting. I'm still reading. I goofed. I thought I got to the end and there was a whole nother chapter. I'm still finishing up the read here really quick. I've got like 3 more panels, but hey, good to see you guys. Good to be back.
Well, let's put Andy on. I mean, let's exit solo. Andy, you can just put yourself on mute or take out your headset or whatever, and we'll just watch you read.
Yeah, this will be a reaction video of us watching ComicManAndy finish Sandman Volume 5.
Yeah, so Comic Man Andy is on timeout of sorts right now. He can't react to anything he hears us say. That's part of the rules here. I just made up those rules. But Mike, what did you think of the volume?
It was okay. It wasn't my favorite, even though this was probably a more complete storyline that we're used to seeing. I mean, it essentially follows the
Barbie
journey of Barbara. That we find out later. And I mean, it's nice to get a little bit more, because a lot of times with these Sandman issues that we've been getting, they're bits and pieces of specific storylines, and we're not getting like a very in-depth, detailed look into their journey. But this one, I mean, it's essentially 6 issues of a deep dive into her journey, into her own dreamland, and to how she loses control of her own dream to her younger self, or this other being called the Cuckoo. I guess that if I remember correctly, was a manifestation of hers growing up. I think if I'm remembering that correctly. I finished it a few days ago, but I mean, it was okay. I mean, it's still Neil Gaiman Sandman, so I'm still intrigued. I'm still happy with the storyline. Once the Sandman is in the picture, it gets more interesting to me. But I mean, overall, it was an interesting storyline. It's cool to see how the dream world kind of works with this specific person, and how going into a dream, or how some things can come out of dreams, or how these dream worlds are actually made. It was interesting. Neil Gaiman is still a freaking phenomenal writer. So that's what kept me engaged.
All right. And Andy, what'd you think of this volume?
I don't know. I'm still kind of lost reading through. I enjoyed it, but it definitely didn't feel like a story of the Sandman. It felt like a story of, even beyond her, it was her friends more so too, and their journey as well.
Yeah, and it's something I think I'm growing to appreciate about this wasn't like my favorite volume by any means either, but I could see how maybe a very liberal-minded person, or someone who's passionate about some of the topics, touched on in this volume, could really like it, So it seems like this story, you just can't really you can't really nail down Gaiman from volume to volume. You never know what you're gonna get in the next volume. I really enjoyed it. At the beginning, the first couple issues, I was concerned. As it got more morbid and fucked up for a while, it kind of brought me back Overall, I liked it though. I liked it. It had sick and twisted moments. I really liked, and I forget her name. I know it was goofily spelled, but like the witch character who lives in the apartment. Yeah, it reminded me a bit of. I don't remember which volume it was, but there was the volume where all those people lived in the house together.
That's where it came from, right? Because this is the part 2 of that for this specific character. If you remember, even Gore Vidal was telling us like, hey, a lot of these characters will be coming back, and this is that Barbie and Ken couple.
Okay.
Right?
See, I didn't even make that connection.
Oh, yeah, that's them. Like she even
that's right. Yes, she references Ken.
Right?
Okay, now that's funny. See, now I read it with a horrible. I look like an idiot, but now that you say that, it kind of clicks. But yes, it's the same kind of situation, right? Where it's like all these different characters are in there. There's a lot of LGBT stuff going on here. There's one particularly interesting moment where one of the lesbian characters is pregnant, which kind of brings up something that, there's not many places where you see that kind of a situation touched upon. So I thought that was
especially at least specifically in comics, right?
Well, yeah, definitely not in comics that I've read. I mean, I don't know what kind of comics you kids are reading these days, but no, I enjoyed it. Overall, I liked it. I'm happy that we're sitting to talk about it because, like Andy, there were some things that I'm a bit confused about, especially when it comes to the little girl, her place in this dream world, and how. Correct me if I'm wrong, but the dream world that is in this book is not just hers, right? It's like for multiple characters.
Well, are you talking about like all the stuffed animals and stuff that she had?
Well, yeah, like the stuffed animals she had and stuff, those were created by her, and I took it as like she imprinted on this world those things, and this is like her little kingdom within this dream world. But spoilers, but at the end, you have this woman who's Sandman. She's the last one to show up when Sandman is like dissolving the world. And I assume that was the original dreamer for this world, but I could be wrong.
It could be. I'm not sure. The way I kind of took it is that like Sandman, he's in control of all dreamlands, right? The dream world is his realm. And everybody who dreams and creates their own little world in their dreams are kind of like subleasing land within the dream world that he owns, kind of thing. And that's why he's able to close it out, as you may. And he goes, wow, this is actually a really old dream that he lightweight kind of forgot about. Like he even talks to his oh God, what's his name? His little helper guy, the old crickety guy, and that's also a crow. There's also a crow. I can't remember. But he's like, yeah, it's a really old dream, and it's going to take some time to gather everybody out of there because just because a dream is gone doesn't mean the occupants of the dream leave as well. Like he takes them somewhere. I don't know where, but I think that the only way like a being that's created by the dream maker can escape the dream is if the dream maker dies.
Well, that's how they were stuck there. Was the original owner of that dream world passed, I think.
Got it. And then so she inherited this dream after that.
The amulet that she has.
Yes.
Is that the amulet from volume 1? Question. And then how?
I don't have an answer. I don't have an answer.
Bit of a rhetorical question. Where's Gore Vidal when we need him?
Right.
That amulet, though, I'm wondering if that's the amulet from the first story that traded all those hands and stumbled into her hands. And that's why whenever she slept, she dreamed, but not actually dreamed. She ended up in this dream world with all of her friends. And because Sandman says that it's one of the oldest dream planes or dream worlds that were there, and it was time for it to rest anyways. And then when she destroyed that amulet, that was the break of the contract, but she wasn't the original owner. So I wonder.
Maybe. The thing about Sandman that's kind of funny, like Jackson, you mentioned that you didn't even recall that this was Barbie from Ken and Barbie from earlier. I mean, can you imagine reading these issue by issue where there's a month in between? You would forget so much. I feel like I don't know.
That's an interesting point because I don't know if that's true because we're kind of, I mean, we're just the nature of this show that we're doing because of the time we have to do this. I feel like I'm power reading through these things. And I feel like if I was getting these an issue at a time, it might sink in better. I would have more time with each issue and I could kind of, because I mean, because I literally, I opened this thing up on, what was it, Friday, and I finished it like Saturday morning. And it's like, okay, so I just like, it's like binging a TV show, right? Yeah, you might not remember what happened in episode 4, but if you're watching a TV show one episode at a time, you're going to remember that moment in, like last year in this day when I watched, this crazy shit go down on Breaking Bad or whatever. I don't know. I think that can go both ways.
Yeah. I think it depends on who's consuming it. Like with me, I think I like the binging type of aspect of it. I don't know.
I don't know. It'd be interesting to see how that would play off reading it month to month, whether it would absorb better for me or whether I'd struggle more, because I gotta be dead honest with this. I once again struggled figuring out which character is which from issue to issue, because like Barbara and her friends look quite a bit different in issue 6 than they did in issue 1 of this volume. And from issue to issue, there were major changes. Like Wanda looked like 3 different characters at one point between the 6 issues. And I'm like,
yeah, Wanda,
at one point her face is really stretched out and long. And then another point, it's just, I kind of struggle with that. And thankfully the hair color helped define the characters.
Wanda looked like a black woman in the first issue to me. And then all of a sudden I'm like, wait, is that her? Like, I agree with you 100%.
And then you can tell in the storyline where they were attempting to emphasize that Wanda's in transition, they really beefed up the masculine look. But it made it look, it made her look like a very different character, to the point where they kind of loses it kind of, I felt like it took away from that person's or her emphasis on her transition, if you will, that if you all of a sudden you just make her look like a man in one issue because she's in an hour, you're presenting to the reader that she's in transition. I'm like, well, they could have done it a lot more subtly, is all I'm saying, with the art.
Yeah. I honestly, I mean, this was written, I don't know when, I can't remember when this was written. But you can tell clear that, I mean, it's I don't even know if this would even swing today.
Well, there's some sexism going on, definitely. I mean, in that last issue, we even talked about how Barbara's walking through the cafe after getting cleaned up and looking like she's going to a funeral, and she's got a veil on and a black dress on, and she's passing by 2 people at the table. They say some pretty choice primo words out in public that you wouldn't want to try to pull off today.
Well, I mean, not only just that, but even the mother of the of Wanda or Alvin, whoever it is. I mean, she definitely has some choice words for the lifestyle of her child.
Yeah, she's from like a small town, and they really hit that home at the end where it's like, yeah, Wanda really was looked down upon for her lifestyle, and I mean, these people are traditionalists who aren't all about the trans thing, and you're gonna call her Alvin while you're here as not to offend the rest of her family and all that stuff. And I liked that though. I liked all that.
I mean, it's okay to have different opinions, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
It's about the people. Like that whole scene in this book was about the mom. The mom wanted it to be about her, but Barbara wanted it to be about Wanda, right? And it kind of shows like, hey, it doesn't matter like who you're born from or who raises you, but in the end, it's the people who love you that actually made an impact on your life.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that
Love you for
because
who you are. So that's what I meant. Sorry.
I don't like thought police type stuff. I don't like I think having an opinion either way on the trans thing, whether or not you believe that they're actually a woman or you believe that whatever you want to believe, whatever. I have no problem no matter where you line up on that. I thought it was more of a commentary, yeah, and just like don't be rude about it, right? Be nice to people, right? And they were fucking rude to Wanda,
Yeah.
right? So, yeah,
Not only to Wanda, but they were also rude to Barbara, who
right.
shared in the same shared that same way of life, right?
Yes, correct. I'm trying to find like an issue by issue guide here. I don't know if you guys have a good memory of exactly what order this kind of went.
The funny thing about this is like the order almost doesn't matter because it's all one big story. As opposed, it's different than the other Sandman issues where each issue there was like a definite, like, I think, mission for each issue. This just seemed like one big mission and just 6 different stories, or not stories, but 6 different issues.
Yeah, this one started with Barbie and Wanda going shopping. There's like a weird dog creature that is Martin Tannenbaum's or whatever the fuck its name was. But yeah, it is going to be weird to go through it. I mean, it's very quick.
It's going to be very quick because it's very simple the way he structured these 6 issues. I think.
Yeah, I mean, go for it then if you think it's simple. Once they get to the dream world, it's not so simple for me. And I'm trying to fix my stupid mic. But no, the dream world stuff confused me a bit because I don't really still understand the cuckoo thing. Like, I get that it's like a version of her from the past, like when she was growing up and she was like an imaginative person, but is it literally a manifestation of her younger self, or is it like a being that can become that?
The cuckoo is a bird. All cuckoos are birds, right? So they're hold on. It explains it in here real quick. Let me find it. You guys talk real quick.
Was it cuckoo or kookaroo? Because I kept reading kookaroo.
I think it was cuckoo. I think it was a cuckoo bird. Well, the whole like mythology they set up, I believe, is that the cuckoo sometimes lays its eggs in other birds' nests. Like it infiltrates other birds' nests and leaves itself there. So I'm assuming that is a metaphor for the character kind of implanting itself in Barbara's mind. But at the same time, it's like Barbara also forgot about her dreams. So she stopped dreaming or starts forgetting her dreams. So has the cuckoo like taken over her ability to dream and just hijacked her entire,
that's good. Well, yeah, I forgot about that.
Yeah. Like, so that's what I was thinking.
Yeah.
But if that's the case, why is the cuckoo a little girl? Like, why does it need to be young Barbara? Why does it need to get out? Did a big cuckoo lay an egg in Barbara's head and there's other cuckoos out there? Yeah, we need gore in here.
I know, right?
I'm not certain I understand all of that. I'm really not. It's fun to read, and I'm sure this is one where if you went back and read it again.
So I'm on Sandman Wiki.
Okay.
And it says the cuckoo was a parasitic dream which existed in and eventually took over Barbie's dream world. It wished to one day escape and create more like itself in other people's dreams, even if it meant destroying the dream world and everyone in it.
Okay.
So that's why her friend was so adamant about destroying it.
Yes. If you want there is a little bit more of a explanation. If you want me to read it, I can.
Go for it. Fuck it.
Okay.
It can't hurt.
The cuckoo Cuckoo was able to send out agents into the waking world, and while Barbie didn't know the children of the Cuckoo, they knew all about her. This caught the attention of Thessaly, a witch who had no objection to entering Barbara's dream to try and destroy the Cuckoo. The Cuckoo, meanwhile, captured Barbie in the dreaming and told her that her dream of the land were nothing more than delusions of self-importance, and that she had been and that she had trapped the Cuckoo in the land by dreaming about it. Utterly dispirited by the Cuckoo, Barbie agreed to help destroy the dream. The Cuckoo led Barbie to the hierogram, a large monolith at the coast, which Barbie struck with the porpentine. The hierogram shattered, and Dream appeared. Sandman. He began to unmake the land. I guess it doesn't really give that much of an explanation, I guess. But
that was enough.
Isn't it funny? Isn't it funny though that the Sandman is like not that huge of a character?
He's not, right? It's like all about his dream, his like realm. That's really like what Sandman, I think, is about.
Yeah, well, it comes down to him at the end, right? I mean, he's the one.
Oh, hey, look at this! I didn't even notice this on the cover. See this guy right here? I think that's supposed to be Sandman.
Letting the butterflies out. He's
no. I think he's sucking them all in.
He's sucking them in at the end. Yes.
Yeah.
Nice.
That's
there's some weird shit with the moon in this one, where like.
What about the dude with the crows in his chest too?
Yeah. Right.
So that must be the manifestation of the dream parasite in the real world.
Yeah,
all of the crows represent the eggs of the parasite trying to delve into the dreams of the others.
Oh yes, okay, yeah. He's the Cuckoo's like earthly bitch, so to speak.
Yes.
But yeah, what is that about though? Like, yeah, so there was a whole part about him. Mike, do you remember it? Like with that whole scene. So it visited him and released the birds into his.
Yeah, they're all asleep, everybody but us, and then he eats a bunch of birds, and then at what time is it? 1 o'clock in the morning, he cuts open his chest, lets these birds out, and then each bird proceeds to go to everybody in the house and gives them all these fucked up dreams, right? Like he forces Wanda to get the transition surgery, right? The next page it shows Hazel's dream of being pregnant, right? And then the next one is Foxglove's dream of what does she dream of? Like a ghost. Foxglove is the lover, the ex-lover of the woman who died in the diner.
Oh, that's right. Yep.
And then the next one is Thessaly. The bird tries to mess with her, but she's old and wise, and she just takes the bird and kills it.
Mm-hmm. Right? Yeah, Thessaly's interesting.
You recognize what it is.
Why is Thessaly there by chance? Does she live in that apartment, or did she place herself there?
We don't know yet.
Because she was kind of a cool character. I liked her.
Yeah.
Big fan of hers.
George, that was the dude's name, George, because they cut off his face later after in the bathroom.
I love when she rips the guy's face off and chews his tongue out of his face and all that fun stuff. That was great. I thought that was my favorite part. There's some like voodoo witchcraft she does to bring now the moon aspect of it too. So like basically she makes the moon disappear. And it causes like a hurricane that is in the area to come back to the coast and slam New York, which is what kills Wanda, by the way. But yeah, there's just a lot of weird shit that goes on in this comic. There's just a ton of weird shit going on.
Yeah.
It can be a little bit overwhelming, if I'm going to be honest, at times.
Yeah, this definitely isn't a fast read. It definitely takes some thought to try to follow. You know what? If you probably sat down and read all these volumes and binged them, like Mike was saying, you'd probably connect a lot more of the things. But it's been 3 months since we read volume 1 and 2.
I feel like it breaks my brain by the end of a volume. Like I don't know.
I think if we would have read, huh?
No, go ahead.
I think if we would have read this sooner, we would have remembered that these characters from that
Yeah,
volume
no,
2.
you're right.
As
You're
far
right.
I found your scene there,
There it
Jackson.
is. Yes, I love it. Oh God, do I love it? God, it looks so much better on a piece of paper than it does on my digital copy too.
Yeah.
Yes, it
Son
does.
of a bitch.
Gosh.
Um,
Oh God, and this the following next one.
Oh, it's great. Yeah, she like tacks this character's head or face, eyeballs, and tongue up on the wall.
Yeah.
And does some sort of witchcraft where like its consciousness is still in there, and talks to it. And it's great. I thought that was great. There's a lot of things I think are great in every volume of this tale, this epic saga that is the Sandman. But it is interesting because I did, and I think Andy, you're probably feeling this a little bit too, just kind of noting your reaction to some of the stuff. I'm most interested in this story when it's about the Sandman and death and that whole, the whole journey through hell, him getting the key to hell, that stuff. That's probably my favorite stuff that's in these.
I agree wholeheartedly, but the more we read into this, the more I'm realizing it's a journey of humanity.
Okay.
If you will.
Yeah,
Look,
I mean, expound on that a bit.
It's really hard to, but it's the journey of the characters. I mean, I'm left looking at this panel and asking a question. Well, what significance did the homeless lady play? You know what I mean? If this series is provoking thoughts in that manner, asking me about, or making me ask myself or rhetorical questions about these characters or that characters and the roles they play, and every character that we see in the stories that we're reading about it, but there's a trial or a tribulation. There's something deeper that we go deeper into these characters and not just the Sandman or death. You know what I mean? It's heaven and hell, and there's a lot of polarizing things, and it's just like it's almost like this is like, if we read further, is this just going to be one giant long run on humanity overall? Just the story of life and death.
It might, but I think it's more than that. It's almost because when you talk about the homeless lady in the very beginning, Barbie gives her like what, a quarter or something like that.
She gives her
50
change.
cents, I think.
Gives her some change.
Everybody else is ignoring her except for Barbie.
Yeah, and then at the very end, it shows that the old lady eventually saves her from the crumbling building all around her, right, while she sleeps. I mean, it's just like what you were talking about, Jackson. Like, hey, don't be rude and be a good person, and self-sacrifice could be what more is there about the human spirit than self-sacrifice?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but the homeless lady recognizes Barbara right away when she sees her sleeping, right? And then Barbara basically says she's never seen the homeless lady before at the end.
Because all bums look alike.
What's that?
All bums look alike. I mean, but bums
will
remember acts of kindness, right?
Yeah, I thought that was interesting too. Like, that she, and even what's her name, had to kind of be reminded by her of who she was.
Yeah. Wanda.
Wanda. So yeah, it's like there are like these, Skid Row out in your neck of the woods, California, Mike. Geez. But yeah, you drive down there and you probably just see, I mean, to you, it's just all the same shit, right? It's just
better real estate than I do.
So it's probably all the same shit, but every person has a story, right? And every person got there for some reason, whether they were just born a piece of shit or not necessarily homeless people. I'm just talking people, or something happened to make them pieces of shit.
Clarification.
Yeah. It's like, be kind to others, right?
But I mean, so there's this cuckoo. I found this oh gosh, I thought I actually just lost it too. So right when the bird tries to take Thessaly, right? And in the following thing, when she's trying to explain to everybody, like, hey, this cuckoo thing, after she puts it up on the wall here. like, what is the cuckoo? It's like, I don't know. It's the cuckoo. It's like, it's all I know is that it's in the realm. It's in the dream. And the cuckoo wants to consume each of you. This is what the face is telling them, right? It needed someone to destroy the princess Barbie. The cuckoo must fly. So it's clear that the cuckoo is just some random thing that was born in this dream or manifested somehow or got trapped in this dream world. It needs to kill Barbie or something similar to get out.
What
We were
is
talking
the
about.
what is the metaphorical significance, you think, of the fact that Barbie doesn't remember any of this stuff until she sees it in her dream world?
Well, you remember when she meets her younger self later on, and she asks, like, "Hey, was I touched as a kid? Am I just remembering all this crazy crap?" You know. At first, I thought it was going to be kind of like that, like repressed memories coming back up, but no, it
Yeah,
didn't end up being that. I don't know.
I couldn't quite make the connection as to what that was about. I thought it was going to be like about, letting your childhood self roam free or whatever, but that is not at all where it went. So I would be interested in picking Neil and Gore Vidal's brain
Yeah.
as far as what the fuck was going on there, or what's the significance of that, of the fact that she doesn't remember her dreams, unless it's as simple as like the cuckoo is a virus and it's just held the dream world hostage from her and she can't go back
And maybe it was forced into portraying Barbie because Barbie hadn't been there for so long that the dream world locked her into that.
Barbie did mention that she hadn't dreamed in years, right?
Yeah, she couldn't remember her dreams anymore, right?
And because of that, that aided into the situation, so to speak. And maybe the dream world forced her to play that, the cuckoo to play that role, or the cuckoo to play that role. And all it wanted to do was fly away and leave. It was done. It didn't want to be there anymore, and it was stuck. So she built this army, put up this plan to get her back into the dream world, sent the dog out with that amulet so that amulet helped her pass into the dream world. It's kind of starting to add up a little bit more, but where I really got lost in the read is when she met up with the cuckoo and it was her talking to herself, so to speak, trying to add all this stuff together. And I'm like, my brain just froze right there. I was locked up. I was reading and I just didn't understand what was taking place.
It's tough. It's a tough read, I would say.
It's tough, but I don't know. I feel like the past few volumes, a lot of things were explained in later volumes. Well, with the exception of this volume, I guess. I don't know. Does that make sense? I don't know. Maybe not. Maybe it's just
a little bit. Like
it might click a little bit going farther.
Out.
Yeah, going further,
when we do the next reread of Sandman episodes next year, when the show is coming out,
we
have to reread it again.
Ooh.
I'm assuming they're probably gonna have to dumb some of this stuff down for television. Otherwise, viewers aren't going to be engaged.
This is one of those unfilmable quote unquote stories. I don't understand.
I'm still excited
I can't wait. I can't wait to see whatever they do with it. I like I said, I don't even mind if they dumb it down. I feel like you kind of have to. But
I almost feel like somebody who would be great at directing something like this should be like a Christopher Nolan or something like that.
Yeah, but Christopher Nolan would have to make it like really loud, like Tenet was. Which, by the way, go listen to my review of Tenet up on my YouTube page. But I don't know. It's a trip, man. It's a fucking journey. This thing, it is so bizarre. Like we talked about this last week. I have no idea what's coming in Volume 6. None. I don't know if it's going to be another random set of characters who, maybe have a connection to something that happened in the past. I don't know if it's going to be Sandman based. I don't know if it's going to be random stories like that one fucking volume was, where it's
we're starting to realize nothing's random.
Yeah.
We just we just perceive it as random until we fill in the blanks and then bridge that gap.
Yeah.
I can't wait. This is just one giant freaking puzzle, and we're not going to see the entire picture till the very end.
I was just going to say, I cannot wait until we read the last volume of this.
Yeah.
I can't imagine how this could end, because it's just all over the place. Not in a bad way, but it's just there's so much shit.
That last episode that we do is going to be a long one, I think, because we're gonna recap things. I'm gonna have, whenever it comes, I'm gonna have all 10 volumes with us.
It'll have to be like a mega 2 or 3 hour. We recap volume 1 leading into 2, and then we put all the pieces together and see how it all fits. And
that sounds really fun. Actually, we should just schedule a whole day for that. I'm serious.
Yeah.
I like it out of respect of the epic fucking nature of this story. It is crazy. I'm not even sure I love every issue I read or everything in every issue, but I have such a respect for how incredible it has been already. And we're halfway through it, I believe, or almost halfway through it.
No, we're halfway. There's 10, right? So
no, there's more than 10.
Oh, is there 10, more than 10? Oh, okay.
I think so. Let me confirm that before I look.
They're all on the back right here. So there's 5, 6, 7, 8, 9,
11, 10, I want to say
12.
So next week will be the halfway. So yeah, let's do a halfway
story.
Right. So let's do a halfway discussion next week.
If you
wait. Andy's picking.
Andy is picking, but
we might need a break from Sandman.
Whenever it is we get to that halfway point, if you want, I know a lot of people in the community that have read this and love it. I mean, we could also invite them to see if we can maybe get some more insight into get some answers to some questions that we might have.
Yeah. I don't know if Gore is down for this, if he's watching it later, if he's not here right now.
Let us know, Gore. Just message us or we'll reach out to you.
I was just gonna say we should have him on like every 3 volumes or something, and we can
tell us how dumb we are.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yeah, because I wish he was in the chat right now. I really do, because I feel like I'm getting as much out of his comments about it as when I read it. We do solo. Yeah, we can't seem to stop. Yeah, it's like shooting heroin's great in the moment, but when you try to piece it all together afterwards, your life's in shambles. That's kind of like the Sandman, I think. So do we want to pick the next book we're reading, Andy? And by the way, I don't even know if it's your pick. I don't even know.
I think it is.
I think we'll have to sit on that for a little bit until we finish discussing this, because we were into chapter 2 leading into chapter 3. Did you guys have more to talk about?
I mean,
we got some gaps to fill in a little bit there, because it's chapter 3 is when the girls pull the moon down and travel into the dream world, right?
Yeah. Can we talk about the moon thing? What the fuck is going on?
The moon goddess, I think, has powers that could get them to the dream world, and them pulling the moon down pulled the goddess to them to ask for permission or ask for the favor to travel to the dream world, if I remember correctly. And that's what caused the weather issue, right? So, and then when they get there, they're literally like traveling to Mordor almost, which had me lost, because you have no idea. We never really had a full-on introduction to this dream world area.
Well, and they basically say, like, it doesn't matter where we're going. If we journey, we'll get there.
Right. Yeah. So then there's the rat dude they run into that tries to help them, and then the cuckoo just violently slashes his throat, like very graphically done, well done in the pages with blood and gore. And then they get him back in another chapter, as far as using witchcraft to speak through him through just a puddle of his own blood, and to talk to his essence in that puddle of blood. And then where did they end up? They ended up traveling, and they got caught. What we thought was a friend or a pet for that group, the bird, ended up being a servant of the cuckoo, or the cuckoo itself. No, it was a servant of the cuckoo, and basically got the cuckoo's army over there and got them captured, and then drug them over there. And that's when Barbie or Barbara woke up in the house, I think it was. And then that's where I got really confused, where they started the dialogue between each other, trying to describe that situation it's just kind of mind-blowing. I stopped after that thinking that was the end of the read, the end of chapter 5, and then it goes into 6. I think that was the end of 5.
Yeah.
See, that's how lost my brain is on this. Is I read it 3 or 4 weeks ago when we thought about doing this next show, and everybody was a little busy. Jackson, you were moving, and maybe it was 3 weeks ago. And then I got back into it last week, but then I still didn't finish that last chapter 6. And I thought I was done, and then now I was speed reading that very end, so it's still kind of not adding up a lot to me, but what was the point that I was trying to get at? They're pretty violent in that dream world.
Yeah, it's like an old Renaissance era or, Knights of the Round Table era brutality going on.
You got to wonder if this Barbie person is going to play a bigger role later on down the line, because I was way more interested in like the coming up of the Sandman, the first 3 volumes of this, or first 2.5 or something like that, whatever it was. But you gotta think that this Barbara person is a pretty important character in this Sandman to dedicate an entire volume to her.
Mm-hmm.
If there's only 12, that's a big chunk of your storyline right there.
That's right.
But I guess long story short, she ends up losing her dream world. Is she able to dream again now after this dream world's gone and the cuckoo's free?
Doesn't she have a dream on the bus?
Oh, that's
to
right.
Go
Yeah,
to the funeral?
that's right. Yeah. What does she dream about again? She dreams about crap. Andy, you just read it. What was it?
Like I said, I just powered through it really quick. Was that a dream? Well, that's where their Sandman shows up and he's making her.
Oh no, she dreams about the chicks meeting death, right? And then she waves goodbye right here. That's what she dreams about.
That was the dream.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, that's her dreaming on the bus, because just above that it says like yesterday on the Greyhound. She talks about that.
And Wanda's like a beautiful woman.
Yes. Yes. She looks like Mary Jane, actually, from Spider-Man.
Yeah, and then she dreams about the part where the comic book, the Hyperman comic book.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for saying this.
The fucking stereotypical fucking
Superman, right?
No.
Oh, the greasy comic book shop guy. Anybody else find it interesting that they so broke with the DC tie-in that they didn't just use Superman and Clark Kent and Lois Lane and all those names? or can they not do that because they actually exist in this world?
They probably actually exist because this is a DC.
Right. But in the first volume, we had Martian Manhunter and we had John Constantine, and they could refer to them as them like the real versions. And in this, Hyperman, and I forget, there's like a fake version of Lois Lane that they bring up. I just found that kind of funny. It's like, well, wait, you're a DC book. Why don't you just use it? Why don't you just use Superman?
Well, they have to. Then you're probably right. They probably actually exist in this world. That's why.
Right. So can we please get the issue where Superman falls asleep and Sandman fucks with him in his dream? Can we please, please get that as an issue? Oh my goodness, it'd be awesome. Okay, the Sandman and Bruce Wayne, be fun.
That would be trippy.
Yeah, you can do all sorts of shit. Now, I don't know if I'd want that in this story because I think it kind of takes it out of the whole thing. But it'd be fun. Be fun as hell. But So hold on, we're at the moon. We brought the moon down. Weather, the journey to Mordor from the characters, the traitor bird, the monkey gets killed.
Everybody gets killed.
Everybody dies.
Is the monkey one of those like classic monkeys that brings the symbols together? Yeah, I thought that was good. And let's see, where are we at now? So they kidnap her, they take her to herself, who's the cuckoo.
And it's her old house.
It's her old house,
Yep.
right?
All the stuffed animals are there. The cuckoo explains to her that. Well, how does she explain it to her? She says, "Oh shit."
Can I real quick just say that that's such a nice dream related touch, the fact that it's her house but it's not, because like you have dreams where you're in your house but it's totally not your house. And she makes that comment about like, oh yeah, all this stuff's here but it's smaller. And it's like I've had dreams where like in the dream I know consciously that I'm in my house. But it's definitely not my fucking house. When I wake up, I remember the dream. It's totally different. So yeah, I thought that was kind of an interesting touch there to make.
See, this is where it loses me, and Mike's getting there too. When they step in the house and they start talking, and she walks in, and the cuckoo, the version of her younger self, the cuckoo, goes into the dialogue about Papa was proud of this little fish. It's a little trophy from a bass. It's a third place prize trophy from a bass fishing tournament. And there's some more dialogue, and then it rolls into this the second page of that is said that's what makes that that's what makes the brightly shining sea. It stays liquid diamonds when you pick it up, and it doesn't taste salty either. It tastes kind of like grape juice. And I'm like, this is coming out of left field. What's going on? What did I miss? I'm rereading, and I'm like, it's like talking to a schizophrenic.
It's talking to a little kid with an imagination that you can't like wrap your head around.
Yeah.
Exactly. I think we're probably thinking too much into it. That's exactly what it is.
Yeah, like it's like Wonka's fucking chocolate fountain shit, right? I mean, that's like you watch Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory as a kid, and it's a totally different experience than when you watch it now. Now it just seems absurd, you know?
Oh, this is interesting. So she says, like, Barbie and her talking, and she's like, well, the little girl saying, well, you left yourself wide open for me, really. I mean, really, it's a little like possession, only I didn't bother with your body. I moved into your dream world, into the parts of your life you weren't using. You were everything I needed. I'm your imaginary fiend. Oh, I'm sure. I think that's a typo. So, Barbie, now that I've explained to you, it all makes sense, doesn't it? And she's just getting more and more tired. And then she goes, I gotta. There's something I wanted to ask you. Do you like me? I have a right to live. Of course you have. You're as cute as a button. You wouldn't mind it if I had to kill you, right? I mean, completely destroy you. I need to. It would really make me happy. Okay, sure. Okay, good. That was just, that was. I was reading this and I was thinking to myself, Jackson probably loved that because that's even more than gore and shit like that, like with the tongue. That was probably
The tongue wins.
But I don't know. This is more evil than anything else.
Yeah, it's that goes back. That part you just read goes back to where it kind of lost me though, because that was where I was thinking like, okay, she's the perfect host because she's kind of left her imagination in the background of her life, and this is gonna be about the importance of keeping that as you get older. But I didn't end up going there.
I think this is just about her imagination trying to break free from her. Maybe.
Yeah, well, she's not using it, right? I mean, she's not
just letting her. I think the last time she used it was when she was this age, maybe.
That might be why it took that manifestation of her, that shape of her.
But again, if it's just this physical, like if it's a spiritual or whatever parasite thing that picked her as a host, then that kind of defeats the purpose, right? It's not something she did to herself by. I mean, I don't know. Gore, save me, please, because I don't fucking know. But I was a little bit taken aback by where it went. I didn't fully grasp what the point was that he was trying to get across, besides all of the be kind to others stuff in this volume. So.
How did it end again? So it ended. Where did the cuckoo go? Did the cuckoo get to leave? The cuckoo got to leave, right?
Once the contract was broken in that dream world, Sandman gave her a choice, and he called it a bob, a bug, a boog, a hoog. There was
A
some
Boone.
Boone.
a boon, yeah. And that was like, hey, you have a favor. And why they called it a boon, I don't know. But and she had to make a decision. And her friends that came to rescue her were telling her, well, the witch was telling her, well, to kill the cuckoo and be done with it. It needs to be gotten rid of. And then what was Barbie thinking about? And Barbie was thinking about, well, what if I just made this dream world forever again and made it whole again and everything could stay and live here? And Sandman's like, you could do that. You could do whatever you wanted. In the end, her choice out of it seemed like frustration from being pestered was she just wanted everybody to be home and everybody to be safe at the end of the day. And he pauses and says, I can do that, but you'll have to wait here a little bit because obviously that storm was raging at her house. So that's why the four of them were spared from that storm, and Wanda and the homeless person, and that's how Barbie survived that homeless. Oh,
Well, isn't it funny to think that
Sandman controlled the homeless person to save her then.
well, they kind of killed Wanda because they didn't let her come with.
Yeah. Interesting.
Yeah.
But if she's making that choice, making that wish for that boon, as he calls it, then that's the role the homeless person plays. And that's the kindness that Wanda showed to that homeless person by bringing her up to the apartment in that storm and giving her shelter. Oh, this is a real. Yeah.
So you're saying, do you think the Sandman made the homeless person lay on her and save her?
I think the Sandman put the homeless person in the right place at the right time, and Wanda's kindness put that homeless person into the picture deeper and allowed Barbie to be saved. So when she made that choice for everybody to be home and be safe, the Sandman said, "Oh, that'll I can make it happen. You just have to wait here for a moment while that storm passed on Earth." And then Wanda obviously dies, and then the homeless person. Did the homeless person even live? I don't know.
No, died.
No.
She died.
She did.
Remember, Barbara said that she woke up and went to that funeral, and it was only her and like her sister, the homeless person.
That's where I was speed reading through, unfortunately. But so it's starting to make sense. Back to Jackson's point about being kind to others, and kindness paying dividends, and being the golden rule: treat others as you want to be treated, kind of a deal.
Yeah, and it's funny because like that's what we're talking about here is like the theme of this, but really I don't know if that's the theme or not.
I don't
But
know.
it works for me to look at it through that lens, you know.
But then that's when the cuckoo, when Barbara made her decision and used the boon for everybody to go home and be safe. Notice the cuckoo transformed into its original self and was able to leave and fly away. So it got what it wanted this entire time, but it achieved that method or that goal by Barbara making what would be the correct choice for everybody, so to speak.
Yeah.
Interesting.
This is the weird. Neil Gaiman is weird.
Isn't it funny to think that like even though I wasn't like in love with this volume, I could see on a second read or when I look back at this whole thing in retrospective, appreciating the hell out of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's so well written. It's beyond my comprehension is basically where I'm at.
Right now, I think I honestly think that once we get to volume 12 and we wrap this thing up, I think we're going to get a much better view of every single volume.
Mm-hmm.
I actually no, I agree with you both. We should dedicate like a long couple of hours just to deep dive, maybe even with an intermission or something.
Well, this episode's at 54 minutes already, so we could go longer than a couple
But see,
hours.
this is it. This is us just trying to figure our way out, figure our way through the path, right? I mean, once we get to the destination, then we can see an overhead map of everywhere we've been. I think it'll be a clearer picture, and we'll be able to talk about it better.
I would agree.
Yeah. Cool. So, Andy, what are we reading next? Popeye, Volume 1?
Yeah. Buckle the fuck up. We got to go back to Gideon Falls for this ride because I am caught up and I've read everything and I'm caught up. And all I'm saying is buckle the hell up because it is a trip. It is a trip that you guys, we got to. It's been quite the departure from that.
Nice. And it's on your channel, right?
Sure.
When's our saga? When's our saga coming, Andy? Any news on the saga front or?
So I don't know when the solicitations drop each month. So the solicitations for December should be dropping at sometime this month. And I don't know if it's the beginning, middle, or end. But if Saga is not on the solicitations for December, then it's obviously not going to be in 2020. But that gives us time to continue going down this rabbit hole with Neil Gaiman's writing and then Jeff Lemire's Gideon Falls.
You want me to make a bold, depressing prediction?
For what?
I'm just going to say that we finish Sandman before we see another issue of Saga.
Ooh.
I think that's true.
That's unfortunate, but
because when you think about it, I mean, if it's not for December, we really only have 6 more weeks of Sandman.
Yeah, but people like Andy take weeks off. You know what I mean? So it's going to take us longer.
Yeah, now that you guys are a little more settled in, we could probably get back to the weekly thing, but Saturday nights still work out, except for this next Saturday for me. I will not be around.
Don't look now, but Solo Wookiee apparently has heard it's not happening till 2021. Now, Solo Wookiee, is that George R. Martin 2021 or is that real 2021?
Oh my!
If it's George R. Martin, we're never getting it.
We're never getting it, right? So yeah, buckle up. You know what? Fuck that book anyway. Prince Robot for life. Fuck that story.
So I'm excited, but I'm not going to be crushed if we have to wait longer, because you know what that means? That means I can still get some of those books a lot cheaper before the heat comes back on them. Because just about a week ago, my Saga Mexican variants came back from CGC, and I did that unboxing on my channel, and that was epic.
Dude, Saga's so good. Oh
yeah.
Oh, I want Saga back.
But Gideon Falls, man, we gotta to take a left turn and head back to Gideon Falls for a hot minute there, because I'll save this next volume that we're gonna read is not gonna be difficult. It's gonna be enjoyable, and it's gonna reveal a number of it's gonna have you on the edge of it had me on the edge. I was literally sitting there on the edge of my chair, leaning over this table, reading each one, and I binged it the entire time, couldn't stop reading it.
Question, Andy, can you, without spoiling the next volume, can you give us a quick 2-minute, can you remind me what was happening in that when we last read it?
Remember we were debating back and forth about a multiverse?
Yes.
And multiverse versus time travel?
Versus time travel, yes.
And
don't spoil anything, but what was happening? Like the barn, I remember like the barn thing happened where they kind of swapped universes.
So Dr. Yu and Father, dang it, Dr. Yu and Father Fred, I think it was, entered the barn and disappeared, and then Norman, they swapped. So actually, no, it was Dr. Yu stayed in place, Norman swapped over, and then Dr. Fred, I think. Yeah, we're gonna have to reread a couple of.
I might reread the whole.
No, I'm not. I'm gonna rewatch the last episode that we talked about, and you can find it right here down on Comic Man Andy's channel. Just look for Gideon Falls Volume 3.
Yep, I got a whole playlist for the Downright Annoyed with Comic Man Andy down there, and just once you get past once you finished reading the Sandman episodes, just behind those are the Gideon Falls episodes, and yeah, I'm actually going to go back and rewatch those, and I'm actually going to be rereading the book. But I will say there's a number of questions that get answered. The last volume that we left off at had Father Fred and Dr. Yu somehow time travel or multiverse skip or something, but Dr. Yu met an older version of herself, if you remember that last couple of pages.
Yeah, that's right. They're like in some weird, like tribe-ish kind of
village, yeah, and they're running away from the critchy cockroaches from the smiling man, and that's where that volume leaves off, and the action and the pace just slaps you right in the face and says buckle the fuck up and let's go, because it's action packed. It's good. It's really good. Jackson, you're reading it right now, aren't you?
Yep. I don't even know what happens. Just the last couple pages.
So it would have to be 2 weeks from now, from yesterday or today. that I could be available for that.
Okay.
Because that gives us plenty of time to reread volume 4, and then we could reread volume 3, and then we could read volume 4.
Well,
'Cause
or I mean, we could just take a 2-hour break right now, read it, and hop back on in 2 hours and do it. Andy's like,
I don't
Andy's
have
like,
it.
I'm down.
I don't have it though.
Oh yeah, that's right, because you only read the physical media.
Yes, I do, and
Yeah.
the way that they're made to be
That's
read.
not an excuse, Mike. You can literally
Absolutely
have
it
it
is.
in like
It's a great
12
excuse.
seconds. You could have it. I
You guys
have it
are
on my tablet right now.
ruining everything.
Yeah. I think they just redropped volume 4 after the printing issues this past week.
Oh, okay.
Or maybe it was the week before. It was just recently back out.
I'll pick it up. Maybe I'll pick it up tomorrow.
I'm excited. I'm excited to read it.
Yeah.
Back into another twisted fucking world from
Yeah.
one to the other. This is turning into a sick show. We've got one book we read where they kill everybody I like, and then we've got another book. Ooh, yeah. Then we've got another book we read where I don't know what the fuck's going on half the time, but there's like mutilated corpses and shit, so I'm happy with that. And then there's this one, which is like Silent Hill on steroids. So
I'm picking Ricky Rich next when it comes to me.
yeah, Archie. Let's read some comic strips.
Dude, that's my first introduction ever to comic books in my life was Archie back when I was a kid.
There you go.
I love Archie.
Calvin and Hobbes, Dennis.
Every time I see Jughead, I want to eat a bunch of burgers.
Ooh.
I want
Cool.
a burger.
Well,
I'd have a burger.
I'm looking forward to Gideon Falls, buddy.
All right.
Yes, I'll bring it on my vacation and read all that again.
All right.
Cool.
Well, hey, everybody. Thank you for tuning in. We will see you in 2 weeks for the next version of Gideon Falls on Mr. Comic Man Andy's channel. Sub him up. And yeah, feel free to leave comments explaining to us, Gore, what the hell, how off we were in our conversation today, because I'm sure it was all over the place and nuts. But thanks for tuning in, and goodbye.